House of Usher, one of Poe's early short stories, was first published in 1839 in the journal Burton's Gentleman's Magazine, of which Poe was the creditor of several years. The story later was revised and published in 1845 in a collection of stories entitled Tales of the Grotesque and Arabesque. The Fall of the House of Usher is characteristic of Poe's several aspects. First, it portrays the theme of death and life, namely being buried alive and returning from the grave, as well as themes of decay, illness, and insanity. In addition, the story contains double meanings, repeatedly pointing to the difference between appearance and reality. Poe's use of the narrator, an unnamed visiting friend, helps create the duality of the meaning. For instance, through the observations of the narrator, readers see into the troubled mind of Usher, a man who is unaware that he is going insane. Finally, the fall of the House of Usher is rich with symbolism, ranging from the house itself to the characters who occupy it.
Let us close this casement, for the air is chilling and dangerous to your frame. Here is one of your favorite romances. I will read, and you shall listen, and so we will pass away this terrible night together.
Ethelred, who is by nature of a doughty heart, and who is now mighty resolved on account of the powerfulness of the wine that he had drunken, waited no longer to hold parley with the hermit, who in sooth was of an obstinate and molestful turn, but feeling the rain upon his shoulders and the fear rising in the tempest, uplifted his mace outright, and with the blows made quickly from the room in the plankings of the door of his gauntlet in hand, and now pulling therewith sturdily, he so cracked and rent and tore all asunder, that the noise of the dry, hollow-sounding wood all around reverberated and filled the forest.
At the termination of this sentence I started, and for a moment paused, for it appeared to me, although I at once concluded that my excited fancy had deceived me, it appeared to me that from some very remote portion of the mansion there came, indistinctly to my ears, what might have been, in its exact similarity of character, the echo, but stifled and down one certainly, of the very cracking and ripping sound which Sir Lancelot has so particularly described. It was beyond doubt the coincidence alone which had arrested my attention, for amid the rattling of the sashes of the casements and the ordinary commingled noises of the still increasing storm, the sound in itself had nothing surely which should have interspersed or disturbed me. I continued the story.
Champion Ethelred, now entering within the door, was sore enraged and amazed to perceive no signal of the molestful hermit, but instead thereof a dragon in a scaly and prodigious demeanor, of a fiery tongue, which sat in guard before the palace of gold and a floor of silver. And upon the wall there hung a shield of shining brass, with this legend enwritten: Who entereth herein, a conqueror hath been, who slayeth the dragon, the shield he shall win. And Ethelred uplifted his mace, and struck upon the head of the dragon, which fell before him, and gave up his pesky breath, with a shriek of horrid and harsh, and withal so piercing, that Ethelred had feigned to close his ears, with his hands against the dreadful noise of it, like whereof was never before heard.
Oppressed, as I certainly was, upon the occurrence of this second and most extraordinary coincidence, by a thousand conflicted sensations, in which wonder and extreme terror was predominant, I still retained sufficient presence of mind to avoid exciting by any observation the sensitive nervousness of my companion.
Now the champion, having escaped from the terrible fury of the dragon, bethinking to himself of the brazen shield, and the breaking of it upon the enchantment which it was upon, removed the carcass from out from under the way before him, and approached valorously over the silver pavement of the castle to where the shield was upon the wall. Within sooth tarried not in his full coming, but fell down at his feet upon the silver floor.
Not hear it? Yes, I hear it, and I have heard it. Long, many minutes, many hours, many days I have heard it, yet I dared not. Oh, pity me, miserable wretch that I am. Oh, I dared not speak. We have put her living in the tomb. Said I that my senses were acute. I now tell you that I heard her first feeble movements in the hollow coffin. I heard them many days ago, yet I dared not speak. And now tonight, Ethelred, the breaking of the hermit's door, and the death cry of the dragon, and the clangor of the shield. Say rather, the rending of her coffin, and the grating iron of her prison. and her struggles within the coppered archway of the vault. Oh, whither shall I fly? Will she not be here anon? And is she not hurrying up to braid me Is she not hurrying to upbraid me for my haste? Have I not heard her footstep on the stair? Do I not distinguish that heavy and horrible beating of her heart? Madman! Here he sprang furiously on his feet and shrieked out his syllables, and as if in the effort he were giving up his soul. Madman! I tell you that she now stands without the door!
Chamber, and from that mansion I fled aghast. The storm was still abroad in all its wrath as I found myself crossing the old causeway. Suddenly there shot along the path a wild light, and I turned to see whence a gleam so unusual could have issued. For the vast house and its shadows were alone behind him. The radiance was that of full setting and blood-red moon, which now shone vividly through the once barely discernible fissure of which I have before spoken, and extending from the roof of the building in a zigzag direction to the base. While I gazed, this fissure rapidly widened. There came a fierce breath of the whirlwind. The entire orb of the satellite burst at once upon my sight. My brain reeled as I saw the mighty walls rushing asunder. There was a long, shouting sound like the voice of 1,000 waters. At the deep and dark turn of my feet closed suddenly and silently over the fragments of the house of